think we started. All right. Welcome. Oh, hold on. Clapboard.
Oh, shit.
It is a tradition here. We got to do the clapboard.
Boom. That's us.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Welcome to another podcast, Candy's World on Wheels. Today we've already been talking with Rodney Sargent, local stuntman extraordinaire. He's ish, yes. Are you famous or infamous?
I don't know these days. It's I was infamous around here in my early days for sure. Married a PD in Cobb County. We kept them pretty busy riding wheelies way back in the early 2000s. But
it was so good that we didn't have GoPros strapped all over everything back in those days.
Oh my God, it was heck. I used to come to the old wild motorcycles, and James would always be like, "You gonna bust a wheelie for me?" I'm like, "Yeah." We would pull out of the parking lot at the old place and just pop wheelies all the way up the street. And you couldn't just do one, you had to do one going back the other way because we all lived, up in Kennesaw. So we had to wheelie back the other way. And of course you just get hyped up and then you're like, oh shit, I need to do another one. So we would have done 3 wheelies up and down there. And by that time, you're for sure going to run into like Marietta police. So and then it was like, oh, we got to go. Yeah.
We get the high speed highs often. We hear somebody that just can't go by here without
such a good stretch of road.
Yeah, it is. Giving us the extra rev or just somebody going burr, burr, like, hi.
And no matter where you were, if you're on the old building or the new building, like you're on an incline, you're down there, you're at the bottom. So you would wheelie up the hill. And right here, you're going up the hill. Right. And if you don't know how to wheeling up a hill is way easier. So this is like,
but we do not recommend you learning to do that.
We don't ever recommend doing that. It never fails though. We'll do a stunt show here at Wow Motorcycles and somebody's getting popped down the street. And I'm like, you couldn't have waited till you just got away from here. They know what you're doing.
A little birdie told me the GSP looks at our events.
Oh, they probably love me.
Yeah. Well, we do tell people to proceed with caution when leaving.
Yeah. Smart, especially when there's police with blinking lights and whatnot at the entrance, like blocking traffic. So
it's when you leave. I mean, it's like if you're going to a race or something, it gives you that energy, and we provide a good high energy feel, and that gets you a little frisky, little throttle frisky.
Seen it many times over the years. We used to happen to have a wheelie machine, and we would take it when we couldn't do stunt shows. They would let us come in and bring the wheelie machine in, and charge X amount of dollars, and people go out there and wheelie their brains out on the wheelie machine. And it's not the same as riding a wheelie on a road. It's a wheel spinning on a wheel. So it kind of has the same feel, but it doesn't move left or right because the rear axle's bolted into the machine, and then it only goes up and down. But I mean, man, that thing gets people hyped up, and it would never fail. The people that would come and do the wheelie machine would leave, and then you could just hear them looping their motorcycles out on the main road because the 2 wheels are spinning off each other. So, it's like, it doesn't come up like a sport bike. And these, every new street rider has to have a 1000. So they would just go out there and, 160 horsepower, just loop their bike in first gear. And we're like, oh my God. I sometimes I miss those days, but
we may or may not have a lot of footage from our parking lot of those scenarios.
God, look, yeah. For sure. It's a slow race, but dudes are about to take out cars.
We have video still from the old building where, people just, and we're going to use some of this one day. We're going to do this. We're going to make this is why we don't do test rides video. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Because all the footage we have of people crashing in the parking lot are people who are riding or have just bought a bike from us, assuring us they can ride. And there's
like the dude KO in the Can-Am into the truck out there. That was a good one. When you sent that one day in a text, I was like, no way. Look at this. It's on 3 wheels. How do you do this?
I know, but people just want to make a deal out of it. They're like, I'm not going to buy it if I can't test ride it. And I'm like, well, let me show you all the ways and the reasons why we can't do that.
Look, but that kind of stuff, you should capitalize on it really, because I just actually saw this really funny post from Paulding County Sheriff's Office. And it's like a picture of a car drifting sideways, and they their wordage of it. Like I've got to, now that I've said this, I got to show you. or at least tell it. What is it? It was,
You know, I mean, I wish we could. It would be fun. It would be great to be able to just ride all day.
so look,
but
it's like a picture of a car
Yeah.
drifting, and it says like no, and this is like the sheriff's badge. It says no, and then the wordage is let's see.
Wordage? Is that it?
Verbiage.
Verbiage?
Hey, just a
Wordage?
reminder that rain is not a green light to test your drifting skills. This ain't Mario Kart. If that's not Paulding County, I don't know what it is.
This ain't Mario Kart, y'all.
If this ain't, that's the word ain't. You should keep your car between the lines and out of the ditch. That'd be awesome. We've got enough paperwork already. Hashtag slow your roll. Paulding Sheriff, you can't park there. And it's just all these laughing emojis. And I'm like, wow, when did they get funny?
Yeah.
But
well,
you should
I mean,
use
you know,
that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Let's
dude,
do
there's
that.
300 comments on that. Nobody saw Paulding County Sheriff's Office being funny. Wow, motorcycles should do the same thing. Like, hey, can't park there.
Yeah.
And then the video of the spider smashing the truck. You wreck it, you buy it.
That's one of many. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is kind of the thing, you know.
You wreck it, you bought it. I did the same thing once with what was it? I bought a 900RR from here many years ago. I was riding a wheelie in my neighborhood and a dog ran out in front of me.
Oh, that story. There's that story, just like I skidded out on the pine straw.
Look, you know, I'm not about to run over a dog, but I literally hit the dog in a wheelie.
Yeah.
And then I hit a mailbox trying to
God.
like just set it down. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm like,
There was a guy that had done an advanced rider course seminar for us, Pete Tamblin. And he introduced this phrase to me that I had not heard before. And he said, if you can put it in a skillet, kill it. He said, everything else you need to learn to avoid. But he's like, if it will fit in something, just run right over it. You're going to be fine.
oh yeah. Like that.
So I thought, yeah,
Squirrel, things like that.
put it in a skillet, kill it.
I hit a deer in a wheelie once. It's not pleasant.
No.
I did save that one. Luckily, thank God. I was up at Red Top Mountain, but I don't know how I saved it. And it's, doesn't always go that well, but.
Yeah, there is a lot of obstacles out on the road in addition to distracted drivers.
Yeah.
Lots.
That's why I don't really ride the streets that much anymore. It's just so dangerous. You know, I start riding a parking lot or controlled environments like a dealership or something like that, you know, but the roads, man, every time I've gotten hit 2 times in 2 years riding the roads while just minding my own business. And I don't even see it coming. Like someone just decides to turn left across 3 lanes.
Yeah.
And bam, like next thing I know, I'm flying over the hood of a car and I'm just like, where did that come from?
Well, I think I finally came up with this grand idea that we're going to have to figure out how to like really, really, really get out there. So, you know, obviously being here, we hear about this kind of stuff all the time. And there is that knee-jerk reaction to anybody that you meet and you tell them what you do. And they say one of 2 things. It's either motorcycle stories come flooding out or, oh my God, those are so dangerous. There is usually no in between.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. And I want to combat that because outside the United States, motorcycles, scooters, standard transportation, standard. Here, it's just looked at as a luxury, a toy. You don't need to have it. It's dangerous, blah, blah, blah. Well, economically, a lot of people need them.
Mm-hmm.
Traffic definitely needs it. And there was a big push at one time to help incentivize people. I think if you ride a motorcycle in the HOV lane, I don't think you have to pay anything.
Right.
And there was a lot of buildings downtown that had put motorcycle parking, like front and center. You got great parking, easy access in and out. And that kind of just dwindled. But somewhere in history, motorcycles got labeled dangerous. And I'm trying to determine what, where, when, why. But also, how do we stop that frame of mind? Because it's not just motorcycles that's dangerous now, or
it's everyone
ever.
else that's dangerous.
It's the massive amount of distracted driving. So this thought came to mind because of an incident that happened just recently. And I do sleep really, really well when I sleep. Could be, very minor amount of time. But this one particular night, I couldn't sleep. And it was very unusual for me. And just something kept bothering me. And then the next day, I came up with this somewhat of an idea that the distracted driving bit is so dangerous for everybody that chooses to be out on the road. whether you're in a car, truck, bicycle, motorcycle, walking your dog, jogging, a DOT worker, police officers, everybody that has to be on the road knows how dangerous it can be. So why is it that the motorcycles get isolated out of all that? And if there could be some mandatory movement towards putting the type of sensory system that I have on my car, make that standard on all cars, that would make everybody, pedestrian, bicycling, jogging, DOT workers, everybody, so much safer. Because in theory, my car shouldn't be able to allow me to hit somebody, have an accident. And I don't know if anybody is even looking at that, but it's not just a motorcycle specific problem. But imagine that in X amount of years, as all this technology is being built into the vehicles, it becomes safer for everybody. And that's the movement that we need, because how many people do we know that have been hit? I know a girl who got hit in a crosswalk on her bicycle by somebody. And a guy that took his family on vacation, was out for his morning jog, got hit by a car and left his kid and wife, you know? So it affects everybody, and it should be something that somehow we all come together to make that happen. And then by de facto, motorcycling will become less dangerous, because when I was checking out the statistics for 2024, you know, let's say there was, I think it was like 5,500 or 6,000 fatalities overall. Half of that is left-hand turn in front of the rider.
Right.
So if we could get rid of, if we could get rid of half, right, if we could get rid of half of that, because the cars or the trucks see, because the systems see through fog, they see through rain, they see in low light, they are far superior to standard humans. And especially people who are, you know, because a lot of these accidents happen with older people who are maybe in situations where maybe they shouldn't be driving.
Right.
And that's a difficult decision to have to make for somebody, or have them accept it. But a lot of these front end collision accidents happen because somebody just flat out says they don't see them, but they also tend to be in a certain kind of age category. And that's, you know, one factor.
They should also make them like retake their driver's license test after a certain time. I say that all the time. I'm like, oh my God, they should retest these people just to make sure their motor functions are good. You know, make sure they can even still operate this vehicle. It's not like grandma's still driving like a 1965 Ford Galaxy that, you know, weighs 20 tons. They're driving smaller cars now, but they're just, you know, their motor skills start to slow down. It's inevitable. And I do think they should like make them retest. It's like, what should happen?
Yeah, actually with my grandmother, she had 3 rear end collisions before they told her to stop driving, because she would slam on her brakes like way before the intersection when the light would turn yellow.
I've actually had that happen when I was a kid.
So it's, you know, I think I'm on to something. I'm finally like the pieces of the puzzle of how do we protect the motorcycle community have kind of all come together, and it's not going to be motorcycle focused.
Right.
It's going to be the people walking the dogs, jogging, bicycling, you know, all of that all has to come together to make anybody out on any public street safer. And however we do that, if you guys have ideas, let us know.
Yeah, your car is one of the very rare cars that like that thing it's so complex and so smart. I think it's like, what is it? If your car's in a cemetery, it makes ghosts appear.
I went over to the Civil War cemetery after I saw that. No.
Oh man, I've seen that on YouTube and I was like, no way. Like
whoever edited that, I give you credit. That was awesome.
They were right on the car. They're literally like,
I don't know how they edited that, but that was awesome. I'd love to see.
I really thought that was like in the software.
Can you redo that? Yeah. Yeah, but I couldn't wait. I was like, hey, we're going to go to the cemetery and we're going to check it out.
Look,
because I figured if there was any hauntings, that Civil War cemetery.
My brand new truck is not electric, but it does have every single sensor you could ever imagine. Like if I'm backing out and I clearly can see, you know, it's got rear view cameras and backup cameras and everything on it. It's got 360 degrees of field of view. So you're like, you know where you're going. But if someone just comes out of nowhere and walks behind my truck, it will slam on the brakes so hard. And I'm not ready for it. And I should be, because it's done it to me many times now. But if it would do that, with regular cars, I mean, it's literally it's a gas engine truck. Why should it be able to do that? But it's because it's what do they call that now? Throttle by wire. So it doesn't have the gas pedal's not technically connected to a cable. So it's electronic and it senses that and it makes the motions for you because it's faster than you. Like,
correct.
I'm not thinking about that.
Yeah. I'm sure all of us in this room are a little bit of control freaks, and that just kind of goes hand in hand with what we do. And it was really, really difficult when I had the Volvo. I had the XC90 inscription model, and I had the heads-up display. And it's mostly because I'm secretly an inner nerd. Like, I love high-tech stuff. I love having the newest, latest, greatest. Oh, it's a secret
just a
for
nerd.
It's a secret for some people.
Oh.
And that car had that first sensor technology that they were basically using regular retail people for the rest of the R&D. And that technology that was put into that car, from what I understand, was being used in the rollout of the robo-taxis. And I don't know if it was the Tesla one or there was somebody else, Uber. I think it was Uber, whoever they were working with at the time. The first time that thing went off, scared the living bejesus out of me.
I bet.
One of the front sensors was off a little bit. So when I was on a street that had a slight right and maybe a turn lane, as I'm going this way, the sensor would pick up anything in that turn lane.
Right.
And it happened right over here on this road. And it slammed on the brakes. Everything I had in the passenger seat slammed forward. I mean, my adrenaline went just straight through the roof. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on?
What just happened?
Yes.
Something running in front
of
me?
And of course, like immediately I'm looking in my rearview mirror to see if somebody's going to slam into the back of me, because this was not where I needed to be, emergency braking whatsoever. So going through some of those growing pains, and the Tesla did it to me not too long ago. I'm like, what is going on? Because I had never had it happen in the Tesla before. So I don't know if there was maybe debris on one of the sensors or something, but it made some god-awful world-ending noise.
Yes, I can say that. My truck does it, and it is like, and you're like, where did that come from? Is
something exploding? Like, what is happening? Are we like DEFCON 5? Is the world ending? Yeah, it's really unnerving when your car just takes over. But, it's unnerving for us because we're usually in way better control of it. So for a lot of people who just are not, and it's hard for us to understand this, but there's some people who just don't care. They don't care about their car. They're just using it to go from A to B. And that's where all the robo-taxis are going to take off like crazy, because there's some people who just don't care about driving. And they are maybe those distracted ones, the ones that are just more into whatever else they've got going on. And also something that we were talking about recently is the technology itself. Like, look at all the tech that's on these motorcycles, where they want you to have your phone up there because your phone's now doing something with your motorcycle. They've got these big old screens with all this stuff. So they're forcing people unknowingly into being distracted.
Right.
My car, what is that? A 2-foot screen?
Mine is massive. Mine's almost as big as yours. It is so big. And I'm like, at least let me watch movies on this thing if that's what we're going to do, because it's already distracting.
Yeah.
It's funny. My friends are like, are you that old that you're that blind? And I'm like, dude, it's awesome when you're using the GPS, you just see all the roads and stuff, and you're like, I don't got to really stare too hard at it. It's just so big. You're just like, oh. Yeah. And
they have all the immediate functions, like right here, just where you can press, and you don't have to dig in the screen very often. But like, say I wanted to adjust the suspension on the fly a little bit, or at a stoplight or something. It is a swipe and a push and a whatever. But for those things that you don't use all the time, you really have to dig around in there. And if you're
car wash mode.
Yeah. Well, I'm not doing car wash mode on the street, but if you're one of those people that's like trying to mess around with stuff while you're driving, it's a whole entire computer right there.
It really is.
So the cars themselves are putting more and more distraction type things in them. And also it's very bright. I see some people, like the people that drive around with their dome lights on. Yeah. I've never really understood that, because you really can't see outside.
What was the thing your parents would tell you, that was a symbol to the police that you needed rescuing or something?
I don't know. I never heard that.
Yeah, I think that's what my parents told me. They're like, don't drive around with your lights on inside. The police will think you need help. And I'm like, oh.
I never heard that.
So I would just drive around with my lights on. It never worked, but, it's like, we'll see if it works.
Yeah. I'll have to reference that with some of my PD friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting. So back to you. How did you get started riding? Let's go back to the beginning. The very beginning.
Wow. The very beginning.
The very beginning.
God, I was like 3 years old.
And there was light.
Yeah. It all started. The light actually came when I put the helmet on. That was it. That was it. Wildly enough, so my mom was a single mom growing up, and I spent most of my young life.
She was a single mom growing up, or she grew up and then she was a single mom while you were growing up?
Pick one.
Both.
Yeah. As I was growing up, my mom was a single mom. I spent most of the time at, this lady became family, but she was a babysitter, and this woman took care of like 40 kids. And her husband and his kids were into racing motocross. And, I was there so much, like literally every single day, late at night. My mom would get off work and come pick me up, but I just loved being there in general. And it got to the point where like they let me ride like a little PW, basically sized 50 with training wheels on it. And, I took off immediately. Like it was just like I was a natural, and I was riding around, and they had acres, and it was just riding around through all the swing sets and stuff. And then one day I remember, they had a mulch pile, and I can remember this very vividly. There was a mulch pile out there, and I remember Bill was like, don't ride over there. And that was my first jump. Tell me don't do something, and I'm doing it 100%. Because I'm like, oh, what is this? And I go over and I like ride up a little bit, and I'm just like, and then I blasted off of it. Probably not very big, but I broke the training wheels on it. And then that's just kind of how it started, because I also couldn't turn very fast. He wanted me to go slower, because if I go slower, then I can make the turns with the handlebars, but I wasn't. I was like flying around the yard, and I couldn't lean it. And I ended up breaking the training wheels off. So then it was just like, here it comes. And that was how I started riding. And I rode dirt bikes and everything else when I was a kid, but sport bikes, got into sport bikes in my teenage years. And I've always been riding wheelies, though. I could ride like a really good wheelie at probably about 9 years old. And it's, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where like it didn't take me much practice to figure it out. It's just like a little trial and error, and then boom, I was riding a wheelie, and now it's like walking. It wouldn't matter if I didn't ride a wheelie for 2 years. I could get on anything in that showroom that could ride a wheelie, and I could ride a great wheelie on it. It's just when you know what that feels like, that weightless and that balance point. I mean, it could be a Harley, it could be a Triumph, it could be a pit bike, it could be a Hayabusa, whatever it is, it all feels the same. I've ridden every kind of motorcycle, and I think it's just like ingrained into me now. It's literally like walking. And so nowadays I enjoy other kinds of motorcycling as well. It's given me the freedom to do, dirt bikes again, and enduros and adventure bikes now in recent years, and obviously stunt bikes. And so it's, I think motorcycles will be in my life forever. I don't ever want to have to get on something like a trike or something. I don't want to have to, but, I guess.
There's that option. It's an option.
Look, maybe it just looks like a motorcycle in the front, though, because if it's a trike and the wheels are in the back, unlike a Spider, the two wheels are up front, it's less if the wheels are in the back. So
because you don't see them.
That's it. It could look, I would love to have like a gold wing. So if I had a gold wing that was a trike, I guess maybe I could deal with it. But
yeah, well, we've got a lot of time before you have to consider that option.
Right. Yeah, but I hope so.
Back on your wheelies, there's a friend of mine that was known as the Wheelie King, probably still is, and it would be cool to get you two in a wheelie competition, because he and I used to do 2-up wheelies.
Well, the real Wheelie King is dead.
Well,
his name was Doug DeMarcus, but maybe there's a local Wheelie King.
There is a local Wheelie King.
His name's Rodney Sargent.
Funny, all the Wheelie Kings think they're the Wheelie King.
It's funny. Everyone would want to do that, but I've ridden a wheelie from Canton Road to Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And that's 25 miles. Mm-hmm. So anybody that ever wanted to really step up, like they would probably catch wind of that. I have a couple contenders. The only person I know that's probably ridden, there's probably plenty of people that could do it, but the only person I know is actually Guru. I think Guru rode a wheelie that was over 30 miles long from like St. Louis to, where did he ride it to? It's like
30 miles from St. Louis. Pick a direction.
Yeah, no, it was a long one. I think it was from Illinois to Missouri.
Is there a Guinness Book of World Records on a wheelie?
Yes,
Probably that.
there is, but that's the guy who said it. Doug
Really?
DeMarcus is the guy who said it. He did it at Talladega Motor Speedway, and he basically rode a dirt bike around in a circle, and they were filling the bike with fuel while it was moving.
The fuel would be the thing.
It had the motor on the front wheel, and so it was filling it with fuel. But it's, I don't know. It's still, no, I don't think so. Some dude in, I think in Asia or something rode some crazy long wheelie on a scooter. Duncan, you might look that up. It's actually, I think it's pretty obnoxious, but.
Yeah. Well,
I don't ride wheelies on the street anymore, so let me not.
If our parking lot, 310 miles.
See?
Well, I was going to offer the parking lot.
It's really, I'm telling you, it's really obnoxious. When people think about it, I saw it, it was something ridiculous. And I'm like, no way. And it might've been a scooter. What was it?
In Japan.
It was in Japan.
Wow.
It's in Asia. Yeah. Crazy. But yeah, now I'm good on that one.
Would they even have 310 mile of road? It's an island, right? Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it did a loop.
It was a very big loop. Yes. Yeah. Well, didn't you have a stoppie school?
We did, and we do. And this is like this. So it started as just a group of guys just rolling long distance stoppies and pushing each other. And then it got to a point where my teammate is a 2-time Guinness World Record holder for the fastest and the longest stoppies in the world. So that happened in 2012. And after that got the notoriety, we really started kicking it off. People were like, yeah, we want to, when are you bringing stoppie school back? So then we started renting a drag strip up in Tennessee where he lives. And we started hosting it for stunt riders. And you really have to have some stoppie knowledge to even want to show up. You could show up and, I'll give you some pointers or whatever. But if you want to roll with the big boys, you've got to generally roll, 200 to 300 feet in advance before you show up, because the track is a 1/8 mile drag strip with a 1/2 mile shutdown. And, it's just as wide as a drag strip. So there's not really a lot of room for error. If you were one of those things we were talking about with the cars, with the bad traffic and people, running up on them. Imagine a guy, accelerating to 80 miles an hour, hitting the front brake, picking it up on the front wheel, and then setting it back down within 100 feet and hitting the brakes when some dude is coming up flying behind him at 80 miles an hour on the front wheel.
Yeah.
And you can't really there's not much room for error when you're up on the front wheel because there's no motor. Mm-hmm. You can steer it to an extent, but it's either up or down. Mm-hmm. And it depends on where you pick that stoppie up. The gyroscopic motion might actually flip it all the way over. So we tell people, have a little skill set before you come out here. And in recent years, we actually started letting people bring their Honda Groms because some of those dudes are really going down. Yeah. But the Grom scene is huge. So we were like, we'll dedicate some downtime when we need to chill. We'll open the track up for that. And these dudes were coming in as fast as a Honda Grom would roll, literally as fast as it could go. And they would pick up at the line and they would roll 300 feet, which is pretty impressive. So yeah.
Maybe it's a little easier to control too.
Yeah. You're not scared of
mass you're
not scared of a tiny little clown bike.
A face plant on that's probably less daunting than on a regular
Still a face plant. I don't, a face plant at 60 is still a face plant at 60.
You have less hundreds of pounds coming right behind you.
Yeah. Been there, done. I've been wearing my Kawasaki backpack for years. Mm-hmm. It's not fun. The force that comes over with that is, it's 4 times the force when it comes over on top of you at the speed. So I had one slide on my head for 280 feet once.
Is that what's wrong with you?
No, that happened way before that. Mama dropped me on my head. What was the recent thing? Aspirin?
Oh, yeah.
Tylenol? Ibuprofen? I don't know. Probably that. It's back in the day. My mom probably drank.
Pretty soon they're going to say, drinking water's bad for you.
Oh, well, then I'm probably going to die because that's all I drink.
It just seems like every 10 years they're like, oh, wait, we've been telling you to do this, but now we realize that's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
kind of hard to know.
That's the stoppie thing. It's, and we didn't do it this last year, but, we get requests all the time and it's just, as we get older, we have more priorities and things like that. It's just, we do this for people. We don't make any money on this ever. For Jesse to break those Guinness World Records, it actually took major sponsorship. Each one of those records is almost $20,000 to break.
Yeah. People don't realize it. I looked into it for a couple of things that we were trying to kick around. And it is expensive. You have to pay.
It really is. Yeah,
it's basically like paid Guinness Book of World Records.
That's it. It's not like, oh, look at me, I got the world's longest fingernails. Like, no, this is like a real dangerous thing. And we had to have EMTs. We had to have track rental. We rented Z-Max Dragway in North Carolina. It's the world's only 4-lane drag strip. So we had to rent the track, shut it down basically for that, have the EMTs, and then we had Discovery Channel out there, which also costs. It's part of the package. And then, you know, the Guinness World Records people come over. It was the records manager from Europe. She comes over, and super sweet little lady, but she's only like maybe 5'4" or something. And she's out there while Jesse's rolling 150 mile an hour stoppies past her. And she's like literally from me to you. She's like, oh my God. And I'm like, you have no idea how dangerous this is. She's standing on the drag strip while Jesse's going by at 150 miles an hour. And she's behind me. Sorry. She's behind me, and I'm holding the laser gun with the speedo on it so she can correct and make sure that the speed is good. And she's like, I feel so much safer with you in front of me. And I'm like,
thanks.
You do? Cool, because we're like human bowling pins. Like if something goes wrong, we're done.
Yeah.
Like we're done.
The Rodney cushion's still going to hurt.
Yeah, like your legs are going to be broken off. So that being said, you know, that kind of stuff, it took major sponsorship to do. And I don't think those records will ever be broken. But the AM Stoppie School thing was just, it was always for everyone else. Like, we enjoy going out there and rolling with people, but really, honestly, while we're running our own event, that's like the least thing we get to do. You know, that's the worst part about running your own event. You like want to throw this event, you want all your people to come, but then you're like, damn, I really want to go out there with them. So we do take breaks and get to go out there with them. But generally I'm like coaching people on how to roll further. That is, by definition, that is the hardest trick in the world to master, because endo, like when you're doing endo, is short for end over. And it will go end over end. And like, I've broken like 12 bones when I flipped one at like over 100 miles an hour. So it's risk versus reward, you know, it's, but it's very addicting too. Once you start rolling, you know, I started out rolling up by the Budweiser plant, in, what is that? Cass White up there. It's Bartow County. And, I remember I was rolling on my 900RR at the time. It's a terrible bike to ride for that, but it was, man, I was
16-inch front wheel one.
Yes, terrible. Yeah. Oh, it was a 900.
Man, so many of those ended up in a ditch just because it was so short.
Yeah. And I broke the frame on one, like snapping it off. Like it wasn't a good bike for that. But anyway, I'd ended up getting a 929, and that was the bike for that. But I would go up there and I would practice, because in front of the Budweiser plant, it was like a road into a cul-de-sac. The big trucks weren't coming down there and turning around. It was just like this weird dead end road. So I was coming in at like warp speed, 125 miles an hour to roll like 200 feet. It was pretty crazy. Like I'd get like 3 of those, and then I could probably light a cigarette off the brake rotor. It was so red, and my brake fluid was boiling, and I'd have to let it cool off. And it kind of started like that. This is, 2002-ish. And then just got more and more, and I was so addicted to it. I'm like, I've got to be able to go further. And then I saw like a video of a dude, and he was probably around like 500 feet at the time, coming in warp speed, same way. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be me. I'm going to kill that dude. Like, I'm going to crush this. And years later, obviously, but it was addicting. There's several tricks that are very addicting, and drifting a sport bike is one, because, high risk, high reward. You get high sided or ejected, but learning to control that high side is pretty cool. But the Stoppie is definitely that's the one for me. I was just rolling them yesterday. I put a brand new tire on before the event. I was like, you know what? Damn, it's 56 degrees outside. Let's see if this tire hooks up. And I was probably coming in 85, 90 miles an hour on a brand new tire and rolling 600-700 feet out there marked out. And I was like, man, it's cool. Still feels the same. It's like flying. Yeah. I wish it was longer. It's just.
Were you involved in, I really don't remember our crossing of timelines, but before stunt riding was called stunt riding, or we were just out goofing off.
Yes.
I think you may have been in one of those groups where you'd like play Road Rash video game. Do you remember that video game?
Mm-mm.
You didn't play it?
I didn't play video games.
So if anybody remembers that game, Road Rash, there was several of us that would play it and then go out and get on our bikes.
Oh, God.
And, go be doing wheelies. My friend would do wheelies over me and just basically just goofing off big time, shutting each other's motors off at high speed and all this stuff. And, just doing stuff and things. And we never really called it anything.
Yeah.
It was just what we would do, just go out and.
No, we would just call street rides. So we would go back in the early 2000s. All the local guys, the guys that used to come up to WOW and stuff all the time, the Jeff Grizzles and David Pageant, the dude who always had the big gold wing.
Mm-hmm. Still does, I think.
Yeah, he does, actually. We're still all friends on Facebook. But I grew up riding with those guys where they were older than me, but they rode really great wheelies too. Just they specialized in doing them on the highways. It's much more stable at speed.
Yep, I remember.
And so, yep, we would all meet up on Barrett Parkway at the BP, and then we would ride down to the Vortex, and it was wheelies the whole way. And obviously they could only do like one type of wheelie, but we were jumping all over the bikes, and we had the big scrape bars on the back, so we were throwing like rooster tails of sparks and probably pissing traffic off. But, we knew to keep the speed up on the highway. We were still running 65, 70 miles an hour back then. But, yeah, that was so much fun. The motorcycle scene was so huge back then. Like, it seems so broke up now.
Yeah, it really has. And, the bike night scenes here used to be pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, Vortex was like hundreds, if not 1,000 bikes. You couldn't even move in that parking lot. Yeah. All the way around Junk Manslaughter. Like, that place was insane. It was just the place to be. And now it's like, there's a couple little spots in Atlanta, but I'm always like, what happened to that?
We know what happened.
GSP.
One person ruined it for everyone. There was, then it was the night racing after that, the boys on 285 and all those things that kind of scattered it, and people change and move on to other things. But yeah, there was, I think, too many violent things that happened that kind of broke all those things up. And, the places that we would go to, people who were going there for dinner and stuff like that. I think there was a lot of people who just showed up and deterred business from them. So it wasn't a good revenue source. Not always. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But there was probably a lot of factors that came into play.
I'd love to see those statistics from those old Vortex bike nights, where...
I don't know if anybody would have them. I mean, that was just a...
That was insane, man. I'd wait for like 2 hours to get to be able to get in there. Yeah. And, just finally get a burger, and then me and the boys would hit the streets. And of course we'd have a whole entourage of people that was blocking for us and stuff like that. And that's when they'd get to see the slow wheelies. Cause back then in the early 2000s, people weren't used to seeing slow wheelies going down Peachtree Road. We didn't have all the stunt parts and things like that. We were riding stock leader bikes doing, 2 feet in the seat wheelies, probably 20 miles an hour. Wheeling all of Freedom Parkway. And people are just like, what? I want to do that. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't possess that. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I don't know. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Let's figure it out. But we need to bring it back.
Yeah, for sure. Bring it back. I would love to do that because not to say that I would love to go out and ride wheelies on the street anymore, but because traffic is just way different than it once was. What was that, 20 years ago? So, but to have all of that, like the big bike nights and it's, I don't know. I think like ADHD is like way more running rampant than it used to be because people can't seem to stay in one place long enough. It's like they go and they go and they go. Whereas like the Vortex was just one spot to meet at. And wherever they went after that, sometimes people went, they went blasting on 285. Sometimes they went drag racing. Sometimes, we were riding the streets. It was definitely a different era, especially with the police and things like that. They generally just wave us off. Plus all of us Cobb County guys, most of them were cops. We would be riding and we'd have a couple of cops with us. And if we got popped, they'd badge them and be like, come on, dude, just let us, we'll chill out. Yeah. And we never got tickets or anything like that. But now, Jesus, I'm like scared to ride the street. I'm scared GSP's going to run me over for nothing. I'm riding a grandpa bike and I'm like, dude, whoa. So
no, they only do, they got to do their job. But it's one of those things like, I've been talking a lot about the kids riding the Surons and skateboards and whatever.
It's huge.
At least people are outside doing something.
Yes. The Suron kids are crazy. I have an e-bike too, and I love those. But the kids over by my house have built like Suron little tracks and trails. And I couldn't figure it out one day. I was like, I went over and I saw it and I I finally parked at a McDonald's and I walk over to this power line. And I'm like, what the hell is this? This can't be mountain bike trails. Mountain bike kids aren't riding up things like this. There's like jumps going uphill. And
they've been watching Rodney.
That's
doing his urban off-roading.
That's it. And so literally I figured out when I'm driving past there after scoping out their little playground, and boom, there's 4 kids up there on Surons. And I'm like, no way. How sick is this?
Yeah.
Because the cops aren't messing with them over there. They're outside. Mm-hmm. And they're like rich kids too, because they're clearly like, they're in a golf course community. So the parents
tear up that golf course.
That'll
be what gets those things banned. You go tear up dude's golf course.
I bet that's probably a huge thing. I remember there was a company, there was a motocross company way back in the day. It was like Throttle Jockey. And it was like, because golf courses should be motocross tracks.
Yes.
And it was like Brian Deegan went and tore up a motocross track, and everybody thought that militia video was so cool. And it was so cool. But it's, you know, the Suron thing is huge, and skateboarding, just kids being outdoors. I said this the other day to my fiance. I'm like, it's so cool to see these kids out here and they're not just like sitting around playing video games. Mm-hmm. You know, if they are playing video games, it's like raining and they're like, God, I just want to go ride my bike.
Yeah.
Like I don't care if it's I wasn't huge on pedal bikes when I was a kid. I loved motorcycles. So now that these things have a motor, they're not pissing anyone off because they don't make any noise. Mm-hmm. And they're just riding around like they do, you know, with mountain bikes. But you see them once they get into the city, then they're becoming a bit more of a problem because they're riding in traffic and wheeling everywhere. And, you know, if you get on the road like a bicyclist, you have to adhere to the rules of the road, you know, like a motorist.
Yeah.
So you're susceptible to the same tickets and unless you're a child.
And we also want you to wear protective apparel because we appreciate your head, even if you do not.
Yeah. If anything, I would say that. And I always see all the kids wearing helmets and gloves, which is first thing you do when you hit the ground is put your hands out. So that at least you got some gloves on and you got a helmet on. And that's pretty much all you could ask for, you know, from these kids. Cause they're not going to, you know, gear up and wear BMX pads and crap like that. But
they should.
Right. That's the mom in you.
It is. It is. But I was
this guy's going to be out there on he's going to be back over here on the gas line somewhere on his Suron.
Yeah.
You're going to see videos.
It's not just him. It's everybody else. I tell those stories about me, like, you know, telling people you need to wear that gear.
Seriously. I can say that, man. I smacked my head the other day so hard. I hit a tree pretty hard when I was ripping with one of my buddies who's like an A-class enduro racer. And I don't know why I try to keep up with these dudes, but I do. And I tried to navigate this corner through some trees, and I ricocheted off one tree, hit my head on another tree. And I was like, dude, I think I got to call it for the day. I just hit my head pretty hard.
Rang that bell.
But that's it. You know, I'm wearing the right gear. You know, I've got a good helmet on, and you know, I'm wearing all my boots and all that stuff when I'm riding. But it's, you know.
We were talking about gear earlier before we were really getting rolling, and talk about LBZ.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's just so funny.
Is it still around?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't.
Duncan, check that out. See if it's still around. It's look, my first dose of that was like with Starboys, who were like these famous before stunt riding was really stunt riding. Starboy Kevin, Starboy Scott. They were out there going to like all of these big dealer shows, and they were wearing like the full zoot suit. It was like, it looked like leather and diamond plated material, and it was like LBZ with the giant baggy pants. I'm like, these dudes are like rock stars. I'm over here in like camo, you know, camo fatigue, you know, pants and
cargos,
cargos for sure, shorts if I was wearing those. But it was such a different style. But like every time I saw those LBZ dudes even the motocross guys were wearing that.
The motocross guys wore them for a while too. It was a very, very big thing. You know, all the fashion trends come out of Southern California anyway, and it usually just takes like 5 years to trickle over here to the East Coast, and some really wild stuff for a bit then, and the Crusty Demons of Dirt impact videos.
They probably were seeing all that. They had, and Starboys were the OGs of stunt riding. They had all the furred out bikes. If you ever saw a furred out stunt bike, that was because of them.
Yes.
They're from Ohio, and just, they were rock stars, man. They were living it up back in the day. They had all the impact video deals, and, you know, they were out riding the high speed wheelies, no helmets, no nothing. They're just rock stars, mohawks and spikes. And
they're still around.
LBZ still around?
We'll take a little commission from y'all later. We'll work out the details.
I never owned any of it, but I was like always associated. I'm like, dang, it's like rock stars. Like, pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely turned heads. If you wanted to be noticed.
Yeah.
It turned heads. We had people furring out sport bikes too.
Mhm.
We've got quite a few pictures from old WOW. I think the last one I remember seeing, a guy had it done up like a zebra, and he had actually gotten some I don't know what it was. I don't think it was a stuffed animal. It was more like a mask, a zebra mask, and he had mounted it to the front of his bike.
My buddy did it recently to one of his ZX6s. I don't know, it was a joke or something, but this guy Dank Wheelie on YouTube, his name's Mike, and I had saw on his Instagram he had like furred out one of his bikes as a joke, and it's a brand new ZX6 too. I think it was just a Street Fighter style, but it was all furred out, and then he put the fairings on it and stuff, and I'm like, dang, like what a throwback. But the kids these days don't know what that is,
Yeah,
so
it's all new again.
He knew what it was.
Yeah.
He knows the origin of where that is, but like, I don't know, maybe they'll ask the question and, they'll learn something from it. But it's like, you got to pay homage to all those.
Yeah, kind of trickled in with those helmet, not masks, but
furries.
It's not maybe, I don't know, but that's already been around.
My truck's too smart to hit one of those people, but I would. The little furry with the big helmet thing on. I'm like, oh God,
with
stop
the flopping
it, dude.
ears or whatever. Yeah.
I'm like, stop it, dude. Like,
at least they get noticed.
They do.
Get noticed.
They do. But I'm like, God, it gives the motorcyclist such a bad name.
That's something that we'd always kind of struggled with. A lot of the people who like to match their bike, like say you have a black bike and you're like, oh, I want everything black, or I have a white bike or a gray bike. I want to be everything. Well, the more monotone you are, the less you stand out.
For sure.
And the more.
I think that's why a lot of the fast guys on the street wear that kind of stuff. They don't want to stand out too much, They probably run a lot. The black hoodies and the black pants and I think that's a lot of the etiquette. I don't know in other cities, but I know Atlanta, if you see a dude sitting around on a BMW S1000, he's probably got, like the Alpine Star boots.
And then he's got the riding.
That is, yep. And they got the little
thigh bag.
The thigh bag. That's it.
We have some. Apparently we have the last 3 in existence.
Get you some from Wild Motorcycles. I see that and I'm like, oh, is that the style now?
It's the style now.
But yeah. And I'm like, man.
But then no jacket.
That's it. Yeah, hoodie.
Yeah. Yeah. Thousands and thousands of dollars. And I think some of the hoodies have padding in them.
They could, yeah. I do have some. One of this company I used to ride for that was Draco. They were owned by Dragon Jeans in Australia.
I know them.
It was their offshoot. They made a bunch of just standard looking clothing that had all that material in it. Dyneema is what it was called. And I had a hoodie that was just a regular looking hoodie, but it had CE level 2 armor in the elbows and the shoulders and a back plate in it. It looked like a general hoodie, but then the inside of it was sewn with that Dyneema stuff that's actually woven into it's the Kevlar that's in the pants and the jeans. And it was hell to wear because it was so hot, but it looked normal, and it was like kind of, if you're just trying to be normal.
Yeah.
And I would, later, I never wore it except when I was riding on the roadway. But even with stunt shows, people are like, oh, are you even wearing gear? Because a lot of the time my footwear is high performance footwear, but it's made to look so casual, but it's got all these crush resistant soles and toe boxes and things in them, as well as like, obviously the jeans are Kevlar. And then I'm just wearing a jacket and a helmet and gloves. And people are like, oh, and I'm like, oh no, trust me, I'm sweating bullets inside this stuff. I'd rather have the protection, than just wearing, your standard blue jeans. Cause I've grinded things down bad.
When it's hot, it's hot. I mean, if you're wearing protection or not wearing a protection, sometimes it's actually hotter on your skin if it's not covered.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why people that live in the hottest parts of the earth are completely covered.
Right.
And when it's cold, it's cold. I think there's easier ways of staying warm riding than when it's hot because, as much as we've been trying to get somebody to make air conditioned clothing, it's still just not happening. But with the design stuff, a lot of the designers will see what people are wearing to bike nights and they'll see what people are wearing, posting on social media. So they notice that a lot of people were riding with Vans. So if you look at, like, we've got the Cortec stuff down there, and there's been several companies that have taken that design because people are actually drawn to that design, and then they've just put the extra protection in it.
Yeah.
So if you want that look, if you want to look like you're just wearing regular tennis shoes or whatever, just get ones that are designed for riding because people do not understand the the delicate bones that are contained in the ankle. So many
Big
people, falling over on bikes, even slow speed stuff, and that ankle gets, trapped between the foot peg or the heel guard. And
I've put my foot
that-
all the way in my chain before.
Yeah.
So
it does happen.
They have the crusher resistant like heel and toe boxes. Like in recent years, I'm wearing RST. They're from Europe, and their standards are extremely high. Their jeans are next level good as well, but their footwear is what I'm most excited about because they need no break in time. Whereas like before, when I was in all of the fly racing street stuff, it was super great and it had this casual look. But like those probably the Cortex shoes or any of those, like any of the Alpine Star stuff, it does take a little bit of breaking in. You kind of want to wear it, and the more you wear it, then that's a stiffer sole because it needs the protection. But the RST company had figured out how to make this sole. It's almost like a Vans gum sole, but the protection is underneath all of that. And I'm super excited to have been wearing these the last year because it looks really casual, with the pants and everything. Like you can kind of tell there's some of the, it's the material.
Double stitching kind of.
Yeah, you can see where the Kevlar is in them, but they're black jeans and black's cool. So it's that. And then obviously the jacket is another thing, but it's, the footwear I love because I'm doing so much on the motorcycle, moving my feet, feeling the pegs, mostly feeling the brake pedal. I can't have like a ton of resistance. Like I probably couldn't ride a wheelie on my sport bike in a motocross boot. They just don't move, they're not made to, but
no, not for that kind of riding. No,
but I understand why people wear Vans. It's just, they do need to know that there are companies out there. They make really good shoes that are way better for protection, but are just as comfortable. They might not, say Vans on them, but they don't need to. Alpine Stars is just as big.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, we notice that people will tend to pick certain protective things and then completely omit. It's like I'll protect the upper part of my body, but not the lower part. And
I've done that.
Yeah, I mean we all do.
I grinded down my kneecap bone so bad I had to have a skin graft off my butt cheek to put the top of the skin back on my knee. It's I wasn't wearing anything, I didn't think it would happen to me, and the next thing I know, I'm like, oh my God, that's my bone. Like it was pretty bad. So
gnarly.
It's that type of with the Dyneema and the Kevlar that goes in the jeans and stuff, it is legit. Like I watched a friend do a test where they drug him with a ski rope behind a sport bike at Sturgis, and he drug it like 80 feet on his butt, and he had no burns. There was nothing inside. He had a pair of boxers on under that, and the padding in those jeans was so good. I was like, damn, he's like, you want to try it? And I was like, absolutely not. Like, I'm going to be the one that's missing my butt cheeks. But yeah, I'm like, I'm good on that. But seriously, that's impressive. And he's like, yeah. So it was like, why not? Like, why not wear that kind of stuff if they make it casual? And for a while, they were kind of baggy. They had like the big boot cut to go over some of the riding boots. And now they're making them like that slim fit because that's what's in. And they can make them any way you want them. It's just, takes them a little bit to get with the fashion, but
well, the designers, they do try, but you're also looking at, it takes a long time to get something out to the public.
And and to mass produce it.
But they really, definitely the last, 20 years, I think there's been a huge shift and change in the way that things are produced. And they do look a lot at what they see people wearing. And, as fashion changes, it's, they have to adapt and change. Otherwise, they just don't sell. So
that's it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's why some of the companies, the street brand companies, it's like the, like Icon does so well. I've put their helmet on and I'm like, oh, it's an okay helmet, but the graphics just like draw you in, And it's, it's not like a Scorpion, R1 Air or anything. It's a full carbon shell that just feels like you're wearing a $600 helmet. But man, you look cool in that thing, and it's got ventilation in it, and it's like, bam. And these kids nowadays, like, at least they were when I was riding the streets, like, man, they would buy whole gear sets. You had the helmet that matched the jacket that matched the gloves. It wasn't so much the pants because there wasn't really much back then. But nowadays I'm seeing a lot of guys, and I would like to think that they're actually the Kevlar jeans because I can tell that they're made like mine with the double stitching, or I can see where like there's probably knee armor in it or something. And I don't know what you call the material that like crunches up, but I can see it on them and I'm like, I think those are actually riding pants. They're not like a designer weird looking jean. I wouldn't wear that if I wasn't on a sport bike, you know. But I think people are figuring it out, you know, as it gets cooler. You know, it's not cool to wear gear. It's never been cool. I'm a stunt rider. I don't think it's cool to wear gear. It's restricting, and it is what it is. But when you can find something that protects you and it's not restricting and it looks cool, you're like, oh crap, like, dang, people are paying attention, you know. Because like this jacket behind you, that limited edition Icon jacket, like that was a highly sought after jacket. It's very cool, but that thing feels like you're like in a straight jacket. Like it's very stiff.
Very heavy.
It's very heavy.
They
I think you
really
actually,
thick.
oh, you do have the one. Is that the one?
Yeah, that's my last one.
Dude,
yeah.
Those things are so heavy. I remember I tried one on a Jason Britton shop and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Well, that's nothing that you actually, I mean.
Yeah.
I think I only saw one person actually wearing it.
Yeah, he said he never wore it.
It's very heavy. Yeah, it's very, very heavy.
Going to his shop, props to him. He has every single Icon jacket that has ever been made, like every design. Yeah. It's on clothing racks like you would have down there in his shop, all in bags. His OCD is like next level, but it's pretty cool to see them all like, and you're like, dang, look at, like, you can see them kind of change. And then it's crazy because as you see them on social media, like they start coming back to that. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, what? But I mean, kids are wearing Jinkos now too, again. So I'm like, remember when our parents thought we were ridiculous for wearing these giant pants? And now it's back. And I look at them and I'm like,
yeah. Well, that happened with Icon. I don't know if they started recycling their designs 10 years ago, but it's kind of like, I would hate to be a designer that has to come up with the newest, latest, greatest design all the time.
For sure.
I mean, it's, you know, I guess you get writer's block and all that stuff. And it's like, what can I do that hasn't been done before, hasn't been done in 10 different editions? It's not just skulls. It's not just this. It's because in the motorcycling community, like, let's have another skull jacket. Let's have another barbed wire tattooed jacket.
There's so many gears in those machines of people, you know, where it's like someone has to know what's cool. And like, then you've got to have your designers. And it's the designer of the clothes, but then the designer that has to draw out like the graphics that are on the helmets. I have a friend who used to work at WPS and design a bunch of the fly racing helmets with the crazy graphics. And I was like, Alex, dude, they need to let you run wild. Unfortunately, WPS never let him like super run wild. Well, he left there and he went to Icon. And now I see him posting on social media. He's posting all these wild helmets. And I'm like, dude, high five for letting you run wild. I mean, they got helmets with cheeseburgers and weed leaves on them. And like, it's crazy, but they sell. Like I see them on the streets and I'm like, if you thought they didn't sell, you don't really pay attention to the street culture.
They kind of found the niche, and the niche is they're going for the people that want the design. Yeah. And they give them a good, I'll call it good, better, kind of in the middle. If we go good, better, best, they're better. But they found the niche, and the niche is let's make it $200-300, but they're buying the graphic, and at least we get them in a good helmet. And the design work that I know, because I was very, very involved with them for a very long time, the amount of stuff that they wanted to do versus what they got to do a lot compared to some other brands, like a ton. For sure. And we would joke about all kinds of things, like, you know, putting certain wording and phrases on the inside of the helmet liners and, you know, things like that. And they were really lucky in the fact that
that guy Kurt, I met him, the guy who was started Icon and all that.
Designer,
yeah, he just, what a creative individual. It's like every brand needs that. You know, it doesn't matter what brand it is. Like you need to think outside the box and look at where it's gotten like that brand today. Like if they fell off and made some just no design gear, that they would go under, you know?
Well, if you look at it from a real objective business standpoint, the designs that they're recycling, so much of that came from him. Yeah. Not all of it, because I know they had quite a few awesome people on staff. And sometimes you have to let the creative people have fair freedom as long as the accountability for the sales revenue ends up being there. And there were so many things, kind of like the Metal God jacket, where they made very small runs.
That was a very limited run.
And using really high quality materials or exotic materials and making a jacket that's like, it was unheard of to have a $1,000 jacket coming out for just an average street rider if it wasn't specialized to racing.
Yeah, sure.
And the ideas that I know that got stifled in the legal department, Le Mans, in the legal department, because, we're going to be a little, this might be a little too something. It's the motorcycle industry, y'all. Come on.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's,
they came out with the helmet, I've got it up there, the heaven and, I don't know, angels and demons, heaven and hell, something or another.
Is that the one that had the one on one side and one on the other?
No, it was the girls sitting on the side, but it had, they were exposed and they had a sticker kit to be able to sell it. They had to sell it with stickers so that the conservative people could cover up the top. Apparently none of those people had ever been to Bike Week ever. So human form, men are attracted to the female form. And, if you can get a guy to buy a helmet because it has,
sex sells.
Yeah.
There's never stopping that. Yeah,
we can pretend that we don't think that way anymore, but the internet says otherwise.
Yeah. Men can say sex sells.
Yes.
Like, it's like, look at all the Instagram, like, influencers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like they, look at, what is it? OnlyFans. Look how huge that is in comparison to your professional athletes.
Yes.
Like it's insane.
Well, I don't know. I personally don't know, but I just hear about it a lot.
I do. I read about that stuff online and I'm like, there's no way that they make more than like, an NBA player or something like that. And you go down the rabbit hole and you're like, damn, okay.
Yeah.
Like you're not getting my money, but that's, it is what it is. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. You literally can grow up and do whatever you want these days.
Right. You really can. It's like that old stripper t-shirt that you'd see rolling around. Sometimes I support single moms.
It's probably something we'd see do it with Dan wear.
Yeah, maybe, possibly. Well, we're going to have to roll this up.
Yep.
Is there anywhere that people can see any more information about you, or if somebody was interested in your Stoppie School?
Yeah. All of my name at Rodney Sargent on everything, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of that. Everything is at Rodney Sargent. My website, the Rodney Sargent. I'm pretty active on Instagram. So just always stories and stuff. If you want to follow me because of Pickles, that's cool too.
Pickles needs his own channel.
I know people keep saying that. I'm like,
just
damn,
do it.
It's so much. Like
you'd be surprised. Maybe he'll make more money than you.
I just had to get a 1 terabyte phone because I got a new
have
puppy.
An OnlyFans
literally, I literally had to just get a new iPhone 17 because I was like, oh, I gotta have the latest phone. And I'm like, I always had the 512 one, but I had to get the 1 terabyte one because I was like, I've got a puppy now, a Frenchie. So, and he's a hoot.
Oh, I know.
So it's, but that's me. And,
follow him for the Pickles account. It's
legit.
coming. That's coming.
All the riding.
Yes. Well, if you want to see Rodney in person doing his thing, he's always our lead superstar of the stunt shows. So we are going to have those usually always twice a year. We've got one coming up, although we're trying not to date this episode, but November 2nd, 2025. Yep. So be here and watch him in person.
Yeah, we'll be doing a couple of stunt shows that day, throwing out some free gear. Won't be as cool as the last one we did here, where I got engaged. But that was a surprise.
That was
with the news and everything here. That was pretty cool. So thank you for that.
That was the stunt show of all stunt shows, or the event of all events, I guess.
All our families and friends were like, "Dude, how cool is that?" I'm like,
yes,
I know. So
I guess we have to come up with something to one up that. We got to one up that one now.
It's gonna be tough. Do I bring Pickles out there? I would bring Pickles with me to the stunt show, but I'm scared he'd get stolen. Like that's my biggest fear because when people see him, he's very rare color.
Yeah.
And he's obviously the cutest thing on the planet. So like, and I've heard horror stories.
Biased.
I'm not.
Well,
when I saw him, I was like, oh my God, this dog is the cutest dog ever. Like he's literally, look at this dude.
Yes.
I can't say he's not.
He is. We'll get a good picture of him up there. Yeah. He is the sweetest.
So that's probably the only way maybe I could do a wheelie with him on there. I did just have to actually get him a new chest holder. I was riding around with him around locally with him on my chest. I had a dog carrier,
Yeah.
and people would lose their minds over seeing, a Frenchie. So I did just have to get a bigger one. Now he's 13 pounds, so he's big Pickles now. So, maybe I'll ride a wheelie or something with him.
He's the big deal.
Yeah, he is a big deal. Sometimes he's sweet Pickles, sometimes he's spicy Pickles. You never know, but.
Well, he's got an appropriate name.
He's a big deal.
He's a big deal. Yes. All right. Well, feel free to send all the pickle memes to Rodney. He's not sick of them yet. He gets them all.
Gear too.
Yeah.
I get socks and T-shirts. People give me all kinds of wild stuff.
The weird lone pickle birthday card that's in the grocery store aisle. I never understood it, but
dancing pickles. Yeah.
Dancing pickles. Yes. Yep. All right. Well, you may see Pickles here as well, but
He'll
whatever you're doing.
Here. I'll make an agreement with you personally. If you have bike nights in 2026 as Wow Wednesdays, Pickles will be a guest appearance.
We'll do at least one or two.
Yeah, you got to change it up.
Okay, we will. All right. Well, thanks for showing up.
Yes.
Like, subscribe. Any other streaming services, please make us your favorite. Leave us reviews. That's super awesome. Also, if you think of any question that you would like to have put into our question bowl that we will be having soon, please feel free to throw that in the comments. And then the top liked comment will go into the question bowl. So we'll have that ready for Rodney next time we're here. So throw those funny questions out there. And until then, we'll see you again soon. Thanks, Rodney.
See you.
And my eyes are still watering. So please feel free to tell me if my makeup starts running down my face.
Why are your eyes watering?
I don't freaking know. I'm so emotional.
Yeah, she's so emotional that I didn't bring Pickles.
Yes. So sad.
I get that a lot. People are like, did you bring Pickles? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, no.
I don't know. I think it's my eyeliner, actually. But it usually stops after a little while. But it's... We've been talking about this stupid sinus stuff that everybody seems to have been having all summer.
It's precipitating, whatever, outside.
Precipitation.
Yeah, heavily. But, dude, it's dry.
It has been very dry.
Yeah, I'm like, damn. I just went to West Virginia and ate like the most dirt I've ever eaten in my whole life riding dirt bikes, and was like, I came home.
When you blow your nose and all the dirt comes out.
For 3 days straight after coming home, like, dude, that West Virginia dust is just terrible, and it hadn't rained up there in weeks. I was like, oh shit. Well, it's better than it raining up there.
Coal particles as well.
Yeah, it's not great.
You might have coal lung now.
You can black lung. Some of the moisture comes out of those mountains into the trail systems, the double track, where the side by sides travel through, and you're like smelling it, and you're like, did someone dump like a shitload of diesel? And it's not. It's the coal.
Yeah,
it's what you smell in the mountain. You're like, oh, gross.
Yeah, I watched a couple of documentaries on that area, and it's awful. Sad.
It's the poorest place I've ever seen in my life. Like, you're driving by and you see like a single wide that's piled full of crap, and you're like, there's no way someone lives there. I guess they probably left there a couple of years ago, and then some meth head walks outside, and you're like, no way. Yeah, and you're just like, damn, because they have nothing. Like, literally nothing. Coal was it.
Yeah. And a lot of people can't understand that. And it's
like, why don't they
similar
leave?
To like when we have a natural disaster, the flooding, the tornadoes, hurricanes, whatever. And then like it's sound bites and news clips for a week, and then done, completely forgotten about. Nobody gives a shit about them anymore. And somebody was telling me like from Hurricane Katrina was the New Orleans one. Yeah. That busted the levees and all. Yeah. They're still saying that there's areas they never cleaned up.
Oh, it's bad. And we were doing stunt shows in New Orleans, and one of the people there were like, have you guys gone out and about from the Civic Center? We're like, no, not yet, but we definitely want to take we're going to take our stunt bikes out into the hood, basically. And because we knew we'd get the pass, like that's the hood pass. You do one wheelie and you're fully accepted wherever you go. So we do leave the Civic Center with the bikes. So we go out into this really industrial section, and we like break into this big old building where they said they had filmed a lot of movies. It was easy. You just walk through the chain fence, and we got the bikes in, and we went inside this building, and we're like oh my God, like it was some sort of a factory, but they had removed all of the machinery and the factory was full of water
Ew.
from Katrina.
Oh, yeah.
And this was in 2013. Katrina was God knows how many years before that. Like it had flooded this whole place and it was just stagnant water because it was like a roof over its head and there's no way for it to go anywhere. It was in concrete. So
it must have been interesting smelling.
It wasn't that bad until you start throwing rocks in it. We were throwing crap in it, you know, we're just like, how deep do you think that is? We're just, but it's, crazy.